Hey everyone, Lance Walker. Wanted to talk about the number one thing that slows down companies or businesses in America, and that is trust. And so essentially, if you don't have it, you know you need it, and you may not know how to get it. So I'm going to show you how to get it and get it fast. Because mini shout out to Stephen Covey Jr., essentially Speed of Trust. It's a great book. I'm going to go through some of those items here. So there's a couple different waves that he goes over, and one is self-trust. And if you don't have trust in yourself or in what you can do or your limiting beliefs, and I would go to like a hypnosis and work those things out, or a therapist, or just even like Tony Robbins, like, I am super strong and buff and I can rip through 500 pounds. Okay, that's like Tony Robbins. But honestly, if you tell yourself these things like affirmations, you will get there. And so when you focus on developing self-confidence, you're going to build those tools that you need to get up every day, tie your shoes, and go on those marathons. And then the second part of that is credibility. So once you prove to yourself that you can take, you can do half a mile, and it might be 12 minutes, and then you're like, I can do 12-minute miles, no problem. And then I think my sophomore year, I did 4 minutes and 46 seconds, and then it went downhill from there. But essentially, you're building up confidence and your body gets into habits, creating like habit loops. Another shout out to a book, Atomic Habits, a really insanely great book that shows you how to identify triggers if you want to change different habits. And then after you identify those triggers, changing the habit and the reward system at the end. And so after consistent practice in your life, you can essentially make those changes that you want. And so that's called credibility, because when you prove to yourself that you are credible and that you're reliable, you can trust yourself. And so the next part about self-trust is essentially core principles or integrity. So when you are honest with yourself and you say, hey, this is what I want to do, then you should go out and do it. And we as humans essentially have this thing, sometimes I get in the habit of this, where I will say, hey, I want to climb Mount Everest, and then I never do it. We get the same exact dopamine rush as actually climbing Mount Everest. So one of the key ways is to not tell everybody or tell it yourself, like, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to buy a house in San Francisco, like a 4-unit, this, that, the other. It's like, just get up and do it. Nike had it right, like just do it. And so it won't shortchange that dopamine rush that you actually get when you actually have real results. And so that's number one, integrity. And then number two for the core principles is intent, and then your motivation. So what are your motivations? Are they altruistic or good, or are they bad? And so when you have good, you want to put good energy into the universe and like make that happen essentially, and like part of your values, that's going to reinforce those core principles of you getting things done. So that's number one for self-trust. And then wave number two is relationship trust. So essentially, if I create a lead funnel and I do Google ads, and then I get phone calls, and then I have a conversation and I promise certain things, and I send out a demo and I send out an agreement with references, and I set that up and a client signs with me, they are essentially a relationship that I am just starting, like in its infancy. And so the quickest thing to sign a contract is speed. So if somebody says, hey, like, what are your response times? And you're responding a week later or after the holidays or when it's convenient, they're going to look at that and say, hey, if I sign a contract with this person, they're not really like fast, or like they're telling me one thing, but they're not delivering on that. And so you want to be very communicative. You want to talk straight. One of the things that I love saying in my proposals is, like, we like to save surprises for your birthday. And a lot of people don't understand it, but essentially what it means is, like, our pricing is very, very cookie cutter. It's straightforward. We save surprises for your birthday, and then they're like, it was a good one. And then, so that usually helps in demonstrating how much transparency our company has. And then obviously delivering results. And so one of the main things that I learned is people don't pay you based on their services. They pay you to pay attention. And so if you're not checking in with your clients like weekly or monthly and you're not paying attention to them, regardless if you check all the boxes of that contract, they're going to feel that, hey, like this person isn't paying attention to me and I will feel better in this relationship going with somebody else. And then the third wave is essentially organizational trust. And this is establishing trust within teams and with stakeholders and within your organization. And so you align structures and systems and symbols, and you foster transparency and communication and consistency. And so when you're building a team of culture and organizations, you're building it based upon what a perfect day to you would look like in an organization. I remember when I was on dating apps, okay, they would essentially be like, what's your opener? And I would be like, what's a perfect day to you look like? And the girls would say, hey, a perfect day to me looks like XYZ. And it'd be like, hey, I like Long Beach walks. I like going to Castro, the Haight, and having a good time and listening to live music. And then I would be like, great, well, how does next Thursday look? And I would just automatically just go for the close. So in a relationship, interpersonal relationships within your business, you need to create those type of environments as well. And ask yourself, what does a perfect day to you look like when it pertains to your employees? And so it may be that, oh, we like to have air plants in the office. We like to have Christmas music in the office. It may be, hey, we have a kettle, we have an ice maker, we have benefits. We work hard, we play hard. That cultural identity, people are going to say, what's in it for me, essentially. And if it's like a place that you would love to work at, like Google, like they all make it like you could play ping pong for 8 hours and work for 30 minutes, whatever that looks like. But essentially, you're creating that dynamic in that culture for your company. And so as we've grown, we've created that. And I even had one employee say, hey, should we be able to eat at our desks? Because I don't want to like disrupt the other person or like with like food smells and things like that. So like we've taken it to like an extreme where it's like, okay, we have like PS5, we have tennis courts, we have jacuzzis, we have, weightlifting. Because I crack the whip so hard, they don't have time to enjoy it. No, I'm just kidding. No, but honestly, like we have opportunity to essentially create the culture that we want. And so even in setting deadlines too, like if you aren't being very, very clear on what this looks like for your company, like, yeah, hey, I'm going to take care of you. And then you're going to take care of the company who's like an LLC, like an individual. Then yeah, like those deadlines and those the signals have to happen. You have to set very, very clear expectations for your employees or for your stakeholders or for your shareholders within your company so that everyone, it's a win-win-win across the board. So wanted to share this with you. It's one of the most important things for me when people feel that they can trust me and that I'm reliable and credible and I'm competent. It has definitely been a game changer. And even in signing up clients and the magnitude of growth that we've actually had, it all stems from communication and trust, being very, very transparent, having integrity and trust on every single level, whether it's trust in yourself, trust in the organization, or trust with your clients. So wanted to share that. I'll see you in the next one. Like, subscribe, you know how it goes. All right, cheers.